Welcome to the Pew.
Welcome to the Pew. And look who we have here.
Christopher Comp.
Christopher
Hello.
It was a Disco 2000 reunion last night at our
Halloween party.
It's always a Halloween party.
This is the hangover edition.
He meant New Year's Eve party.
I have a sympathy hangover. It's not a real hangover.
Christopher doesn't imbibe.
I did all of my imbibing until from the ages of 15 to 35.
Yes, and then he quit. And he was my assistant.
My
second assistant, because Pebbles was my
Pebbles was the first.
My first real assistant.
Yes.
Because Pebbles
did other things too.
Yes, and she
was all over the place.
She went on to become the receptionist.
Yes.
So Christopher is responsible for making Disco 2000, kind of turning it into something more more meaningful and more,
Well, he was one of your assistants that would actually show up for work.
Yeah,
and that would
I
actually
did
do work.
occasionally.
You had a lot of assistants that were your assistant
Yes.
for like a few days or a week, and they never showed up.
Yes.
You ended up having to get rid of them.
Yes, and Christopher added a lot of the humor element. And the invitations became more interesting because we had time to sort of think about.
You're invited.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No other club really takes the time to come up with something funny or interesting on their invitation to them, and we always did.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot of joking. It required a lot of conversation and joking in the daytime in that office.
And you need two people for that.
And Peter insisted that we were there by 1 p.m. no matter what.
But we never were.
Well, but I always came to your house and got you up, so we were there close to 1 p.m.
Christopher would come to my house.
Yes.
Although in the early years,
coffee and donuts.
In the early years when we started working at Limelight, I remember I used to go around noon or so. I mean,
you were an early. You're a go-getter.
Julia and I were
there was something about you that made you get up.
I was very energetic back in the day.
Yeah. Ernie would get up after a long night of clubbing, and in about 10 seconds he would be
fresh as a daisy,
and raring to go.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Michael was snoring up a storm.
Anyway, I think we should break for a commercial right now.
And now a word from our sponsor. Welcome back to the Pew.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And here we are with Chris Comp.
So
my first assistant, and I would say best assistant, because
thank you very much.
He got it all started.
Walt was a good assistant.
Walt was a good assistant, but the machine was already going.
Yeah.
Walt was
no disrespect to any other assistant.
No, because
except the ones who didn't show up.
Except those.
No, the great thing about Walt was that he was like a machine. I mean, I don't care if we were up until 7 o'clock in the morning. He was there at noon or 1. And
like me?
Yeah, but not for the same reason as you. And we would, Christopher and I would walk in all hungover and over, and Walt would have everything done. And he was sort of like the first genuine artist, so he was good in a lot of ways. But Christopher got everything started, and so I think that's really important.
A lot of phone calls.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask Christopher, which I think is really funny, is the fact that so many people confuse him with Michael. And if some of you who remember the old Project X magazine, Christopher was on the cover, and everybody thought it was Michael. And they still do. It's on eBay. And it's selling for hundreds of dollars because they think it's me on the cover. We should have put me on the cover of one. I've never been on the cover of Project X because it was my own magazine. I couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't possibly self-promote.
I couldn't possibly. It would have been
and
gross.
That cover started years and years of people mistaking us for each other, and it would happen in the club occasionally too.
But I never thought that they actually looked like each other.
We do not look alike.
Without makeup, you don't look alike, and even with makeup, your makeup style was very different from Michael's.
Yeah, well, there's Picasso-esque.
There's a story behind that, but if you want to know about it, you'll have to buy Michael's book.
There is a story behind why he looks similar to me on the cover.
Yes,
but in the clubs, you didn't have the same makeup at all.
Christopher had this very unique Picasso-esque kind of.
And we're going to show a picture of him right now.
Oh yeah. And the picture with the X, because people are saying that to me in mail all the time, saying, "Will you autograph this?" And I put Christopher's name on it because it's his. It's him.
So check your facts.
Yes, check your facts.
Yeah, I should have. Because I
So bitches want to know.
Oh, what do they want to know?
They
well,
want.
should let Christopher read them?
Oh, okay.
I would love to. Bitches want to know. This is from CQ262. You guys,
Well,
what?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that's it. You guys have
Their name?
discussed. Yes.
It's a robot.
That's the handle.
Yes.
Robots want to know.
It's E2, D2, whatever.
Robots
Yeah, that.
want to.
C3PO's sister.
Okay, I'm gonna read the question.
All right.
You guys have discussed Party Monster, the movie. What do you think about the shockumentary?
I liked it. I thought it was really fun.
You did like it?
You know, there's some parts of it that are actually shocking, and then until I heard the backstory.
Well, yeah. And it's shocking still, but for another reason. You're talking about, I think,
The part where you admit killing
beginning.
Angel.
Well, it's more than that, though. It's where I say he was a copycat, so we killed him. And that part, you know, I've known Randy and Fenton for 30 years, and they've always been completely 100% honest and, you know, reliable and, you know, just
Forthright
just decent, everything.
He's talking about World of Wonder.
World of Wonder, Randy and Fenton. Randy, Bailey, and Fenton Barbera.
They produced the shockumentary.
Yes. And we were filming that day, and we were at the Royalton Hotel, and they just mic'd me up, and Randy said, say something for the camera to test the equipment. And I said, what do you want me to say? And he said, sort of sarcastically, why don't you tell us why you killed Angel? And I said, oh, you want me to say something shocking, like he was a copycat, so we killed him. And then they just edited out, he was a copycat, so we killed him. So it, you know, it changes the whole context of what I said. And I had dinner with Fenton just about a month ago, and we discussed this. And I said that I was going to be discussing this because it's something that a lot of people have, and understandably have a problem with when they see it. It looks, you know, and his response was, well, you did say it. And I said, I did, but I said something else too, you know. And he said, well, the fact that you could use even part of that as a joke made it, you know, vibe.
Well, it made it compelling.
Well, it certainly made it compelling, but was it honest? Not completely.
Not completely, because they decontextualized what you said.
Yeah. So, we're going to address that in Party Monster. They're making Party Monster 2, and we're going to address that in Party Monster 2.
Secrets of the shockumentary.
Yeah, secrets.
Unveiled.
Very shocking.
And unveiled here on the pew because nobody else knew there's a project, Party Monster 2,
Well, that's it for today.
and Christopher too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.